Let us now proceed to our last topic for this school semester, which is communication for work purposes. As what we have discussed last time, communication has its different purposes. Okay, so we tend to communicate in different setups, such as in our house, in school, and even at work. Okay, so these setups requires different way or different purposes. Okay, it has different purposes in communication or in communicating. So communication for work purposes. Communication in the workplace. Communication in the workplace is very important. As we all know, communication is part of our daily lives. And because it is part of our daily lives, it is also part of the workplace, because it is impossible for you to work without communicating to each other. So communication in the workplace. Now, Ethics in Workplace Communication by Bernales et al. 2018. So there are different ethics that we need to consider. We need to remind ourselves when we are in our workplace communicating. So according to Bernales, accuracy, honesty, and fairness should always be present in workplace communication. If a writer slants her words to conceal the truth or to gain an unfair advantage, he or she is not being ethical, according to Colin 2017. According to Searles 2014, as cited in Bernales et al. 2018, workplace communication will fail the ethics test if it is corrupted by any of the following tactics. So when we say ethics, okay, so ethics is doing the right thing. This is the right thing to do when you are communicating in your workplace. First is we have the accuracy. Okay, so in communication, when you are communicating, especially if that is related to your work, you need to be accurate. Remember, you are doing the business. You are doing the business, and definitely it will affect the business, okay, the results of the business, or the product, the output of the business. So that's why in communicating in your workplace, it is very important that you are accurate. When we say accurate, meaning you are sure with the details, you are sure with the data that you are passing, you are sharing to each other, the information that you need to at least do not create your own story, okay, bluff. You need to be accurate or true. Okay, honesty in the workplace is very important. I think even in different aspect of our lives, in different fields of our life, honesty is always the best policy. Telling the truth, okay, because when you are telling the truth, it would help the company that you are working in, or the workplace that you are working in, and definitely will affect the business, okay, in your workplace. And fairness. When we say fairness, okay, you must not stand in one side only. Okay, you must not believe in one side only. You need to consider both sides. Okay, when we say fairness, that is to balance the words that you use in the business, in the workplace, in communicating in the workplace. You need to balance it, because okay, as we all know, sometimes in your workplace there are people who tend to make up stories just to let they want to appear themselves good employee, okay, as if they were good employees to their employers. That's why fairness is very important in communicating in the workplace. And according also to our notes, if a writer slants his or her words to conceal the truth or to gain an unfair advantage, she is not being ethical, meaning unethical. when you are trying to twist your words, when you are trying to make up stories, not telling the truth, okay, being unfair, taking advantages, okay, through your words, that is being unethical. Okay, next. And according to these notes also, there are some in the workplace, there are some tactics, okay? Workplace communication will fail the ethics test if it is corrupted by any of the following tactics, okay? So here are some tactics that affects the workplace communication, okay? It corrupts, it destroys the communication. Number one is suppression of information, okay? When we say suppression of information, okay, according here, also known as data suppression, it refers to the process of withholding or removing selected information or an inconvenient truth to protect an individual or a group. That is according to the Glossary of Education Reform 2017. When we say suppression, data suppression, you are suppressing it, meaning you are withholding it. You are removing something from the communication, from the information, meaning you are just choosing the things you want to say. You are just choosing the information, or you are not telling the whole truth or the whole conversation because you are withholding something. Maybe that the main reason is maybe you are covering up for something in your communication, okay? So or an inconvenient truth, okay? When we say inconvenient truth, to protect an individual or a group, you are being biased, okay? You are being biased because that's why you are hiding the truth. You are hiding, withholding, or removing something from the communication. That's why suppressing of information is one of the tactics that corrupts or destroys workplace communication. For example, if a pharmaceutical company intentionally hid their product testing results that indicate potential danger to consumers, it is considered as data suppression. Okay? So, in this time of pandemic, okay, DOH or Department of Health was being accused of suppression of information or data suppression. Okay, why? Because of the testing results of those people who've gone through a testing, COVID test, okay? So according to the accusers, some people would say that the Department of Health is not really showing, or they are not being transparent of the real results of the exact number of the affected Filipinos of the COVID-19. So that's why they were being attacked by the public. They were being accused by the public. And that is one way of data suppression. As long as you tend to manipulate the information, as long as you tend to manipulate the data, okay, that is suppression of information. You are withholding, you are removing something from the communication. That is suppression of information. Next, number two, another tactic that affects or destroys or corrupts the workplace or the workplace communication is the falsification or fabrication. Okay, from the root word itself, when we say falsification, it has something to do with making false, okay, fabricating, okay. So when we say falsification, it refers to changing or omitting. When we say omitting, deleting, okay, removing also, okay, or omitting data or results such that the research is not accurately represented in the research record. On the other hand, fabrication refers to the act of making up data or result. Okay, so meaning when we say falsification, you are falsificating the data. Okay, so meaning you are trying to change the information. You are trying to omit something from the data. And that affects the result of a definite or a specific research. While when we say fabrication, from the root word itself, when we are fabricating, meaning you are making up, meaning it's not part of the original conversation, it's not part of the true story, but you are making up stories to add up to data, just to meet the your expected results in a research record. And that is falsification and fabrication. That is another way also of destroying or uh, corrupting the workplace communication. That's why honesty is very important. Remember a while ago, we say we need accuracy, we need honesty, and that is the most important ingredient when you are already working in the field. Being true, being honest, okay, and falsificating or making up stories, fabricating is not good, especially if it is part of an important research that would affect a lot of number of people. Okay, number 3 is the overstatement or understatement. Okay, when we say overstatement, of course you are exaggerating. Ayan. Okay, so when we say overstatement or understatement, exaggerating the positive aspects of a situation or downplaying the negative aspects. Ayan. Okay, you are exaggerating and you are downplaying the negative aspects to create desired impression is unethical. Okay, when you are overstating, you are overreacting, you are exaggerating the story. Okay, the positive aspects of a situation. Let's say you have something to tell. Okay, you have something to tell, good things to tell, positive things to tell for this specific information, this conversation. And definitely, because you want to really to convince, to persuade your audience, you will exaggerate your stories, you will exaggerate your statement. That is what we call overstatement. But when we say understatement, that is the opposite of the overstatement or exaggerating. When we say understatement, that is downplaying, meaning, okay, maybe because you are not in favor with the results of the communication, that's why you are downplaying, meaning you are doing things just to discourage, do not just let your audience do not believe on the information or the data that you have gathered. That's why you tend to understatement or downplay the negative aspects, or you are focusing. It depends on where you want to focus on. When you are focusing on the positive side, positive aspects, you are exaggerating. But if you are focusing on the negative aspects, you are understating or downplaying. Okay, so for example, a social weather survey describes 55% of the respondents as a substantial majority, while 45% is viewed as a small percentage. Okay, so best example of this are the surveys on the television. Okay, different surveys like the SWS surveys. Okay, that's why there are people, okay, who do not believe to these surveys, these kinds of surveys, by social weather surveys. Okay, I don't know, AG Nielsen, I don't know, the GMA survey thing. Okay, they are not believing it simply because it depends. Again, this is all part of the business. Even the surveys are part of the business. Of course, the one who will fade the much, or the greater, the larger amount, okay, of course, that would be what they're going to feed up to the public. Okay, so let's say, like for example, when it is election. Okay, so There are some social weather surveys that they're going to conduct, okay? But then again, it depends to the politicians. If these politicians will pay a lot bigger than the others, definitely what the social weather survey will do is, of course, to make the results of the survey favorable to the politician. Okay? So that is overstatement or understatement. You are exaggerating and you are downplaying. Okay? Next tactic that corrupts or destroys workplace communication. Let's get on. Is number 4, we have the so-called selective misquoting. Okay, when we say selective, of course, meaning you are choosing. Misquoting, okay, when we say misquoting, you are not quoting the exact words. Okay, and that is not a good thing, especially in communication. Especially, that's why when we are doing our research, or sometimes I would ask you to write the reference, or if you are quoting from someone else's words, you need to put some quotation marks, and you need to be careful that those words are the exact words of the person. Okay, so why? Because it could also destroy, it could also corrupt the communication within the workplace. So according to Cole in 2017, when we say selective misquoting, it refers to deliberate omission of damaging or unflattering comments to paint a better but untruthful picture of your company. Deliberate omission. When we say omission again, when we say omission, we are taking something from the original. We are deleting something from the original. Why? Because your main purpose is to make a damage to a company. Or, on the other hand, the opposite of omission is you are unflattering comments. You are giving flat, when we say deliberate omission, it is almost the same with unflattering comments. When we say unflattering comments, negative comments, okay, things or ideas that could destroy the image or the picture of a company, your company, okay? So that's why selective misquoting is very, you need to really to be aware of this. Okay, selective misquotation, like for example, this one. Okay, I've enjoyed our firm's association with Advanced Computer Services Incorporated. The quality of their service was excellent. Okay, so we have here the quotation mark. Okay, we have there the quotation mark, meaning that this is a quotation. Okay, this is a quotation. We have here the synthesis. Okay, so meaning they omit something. You know, class, when you see this kind of symbol, this is not 3 periods or 3 dots. Okay, so this is what we call synthesis. Okay, when we say synthesis, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot but there's a name, there's a term for these 3 consecutive periods. I don't know if I'm correct, okay? But when you encounter this kind of symbols or punctuation within an essay or a composition, okay, meaning something was being omitted from the original statement, from the original words or the exact words of the person. That is an example of selective misquotation. So here is the full quotation. I've enjoyed, you see here, instead of writing at times, okay, they use this as punctuation mark symbol, okay? And our firm's association with Advanced Computer Service Incorporated, then although I was troubled by the uneven quality of their service, At times, it was excellent, while at others, it was far less so. You see? The whole sentence here, the last sentence, was changed into one word to conclude the statement. Though actually, class, that is one way of summarizing, also synthesizing. But then again, you need to be aware, okay? You need to be aware of how you will synthesize, how you will summarize the statement. Make sure that the thought, that the idea will remain complete. Okay? Because sometimes when we use selective misquotation or misquoting, we tend to choose only words that is favorable with your company maybe, or with you, and that brings danger. Okay, that brings danger to your company and even to yourself. Next, number 5 is we have the subjective wording. Subjective wording. When we say subjective, you are subject to the words you are using, uttering, saying. Subjective wording. So when we say subjective wording, according to our notes, this refers to the intentional use of terms and words that will hide the real meaning of the situation. You are hiding. You see? Intentional use of terms and words that will hide the real meaning of the situation. Meaning, instead of saying the appropriate word or the exact words, you are using other terms, okay, other phrases, other words, just to hide the real meaning. The purpose is you are hiding something. You are hiding the true meaning, the real meaning. Okay, I don't know what's your purpose, but that is how you do it. Because you want to hide some information, some meaning. Like for example here, at a telecommunication company, okay, advertises, here's the advertisement: customary service charges for its postpaid handset promos, knowing that the term customary is open to broad interpretation. Okay, like for example, according to our notes here, telecommunications, let's say Smart, Globe, okay, they have this advertisement that says customary service charges. Okay, so, and sometimes not all people are literate, especially Filipinos. We are not that really literate in using the English words. We are not broad-minded in terms of using words, and sometimes this simple word that they inserted would change the meaning, the whole meaning itself, or it may hide something for about the service charges. Okay, because why? The word customary is open to broad interpretation. What do this telecommunications company would try to say when they say customary, when they use the term customary? Okay, because when we hear the word customary, the first thing that comes to our mind is, of course, the word custom, meaning traditions. It has something to do with traditions. Is that what this telecommunications company is trying to tell to the audience, to the public? Is that what they're trying to say? So you see, by using broad words, they would try to interpret or to use terms in connection with some other words just to hide the real meaning. That is what we call subjective wording. Okay, you are hiding the true meaning by using other words. Okay, so that is subjective wording. Number 6, conflict of interest. Okay, of course, when you are communicating, when you are talking, speaking to each other, even if that is in your work, at your school, okay, in your house, inside your house, okay, every time, okay, sometimes the interest will give you the drive to have a good communication. Okay, so conflict of interest, this occurs when a corporation meaning a company, corporation, or a person becomes unreliable or biased. Okay, so we do hate those unreliable and biased in his or her decisions because of a clash between personal and professional affairs. That is according to Investopedia 2018. When we say conflict of interest, that this happens when a company, an agency, or corporation, okay, or a person becomes unreliable or biased in his or her decisions because of a clash between personal, you see, whether it is personal or professional. Okay, there is a clash between these two interests, personal or professional interest. That's why we are all aware of the issue of the ABS-CBN network, right? Okay, so some may say that the main reason why, or the one of the main reason why they were not able to renew their franchise, okay, meaning is because ABS-CBN is unreliable or biased in terms of their news, of course. In terms of their news. So some people, some Filipinos accuse ABS-CBN of being unfair, unreliable, or biased, especially if the topic is about the president, about the government, about the administration, okay? And maybe they have really their evidence, they have their proofs. Okay, that's why these people would tend to say those words. Okay, so that's why ABS-CBN network appears unreliable, that is a corporation, or biased in his or her decision because what? Maybe we don't know the whole story. Maybe because of the conflict of interest between personal or professional affairs or others. Okay, it depends. It depends to the interest. It depends to how this corporation or this network would handle the situation. Okay, so we have here the example. Okay, manager A encourages his department to hire his company as a service provider in a project rather than soliciting bids. Okay, so I don't need to explain that. I already gave you an example. That is conflict of interest. It would also destroy and corrupts the workplace communication. Next, number 7, we have the withholding of information. Okay, you are withholding information. So when we say withholding, okay, we already encountered these words a while ago. Okay, that is something to do with not telling the whole story. Okay, you are not telling the whole story. Maybe I don't know the reasons why, but when we say withholding information, you are not telling the whole or the complete information. Okay, so that is withholding. So according to dictionary, when we say withholding, that is the refusal to give something that is due or desired. Okay, not giving not giving the truth, not giving the real story, that is withholding. Not giving the information. Okay, so that is withholding. So when we say withholding, according to our notes, that is refusing to share. Yeah, okay, just like what I said, refusing to share information, important information, or relevant data with co-workers is an unethical act, especially if it would jeopardize the success of an ongoing project. Okay, especially if that important information has something to do with the success of the ongoing project. So withholding information about operating a new software to gain an upper hand over a recently hired colleague to make the latter appear incompetent is a breach of workplace ethics. Okay, so it's sad to say, but it happens in real life. It happens in real workplace wherein you have these workmates, okay, where uh, when they are in front of you, they appears to be nice, good, smiling at you, but then again, okay, when you turn your back, actually, okay, they are somewhat doing unethical to you, okay, making you appear incompetent with your work, and that's why they are withholding information. Okay, so it is sad, but it is happening in the real world, workplace. Next is, there may be times that an information is temporarily withheld. Okay, but then again, okay, again, it depends to the purpose. It depends to your motive. Okay, so sometimes companies or even persons, okay, individuals would tend to withhold information for temporarily for the benefit of the company, maybe, or the person. Okay, and there may be times that an information is temporarily withheld. Okay, example, if the information, especially if the information will affect national security, it unnecessarily violates the privacy, confidentiality rights of others. Or that's why here in the Philippines, okay, di ba? We have some law has something to do with the right to I don't know the exact term, the exact law, but the law is somewhat has something to do with the information, the transparency of information. Okay, but then again, of course, it depends to the person. It depends to the purpose. If let's say for example, in a political setup, when a mayor would think that the information could affect his constituent in the city, of course, okay, there would be a temporarily withhold on that information. Why? Of course, the politician or the mayor is just being strategic or wise in his decision. That's why he or she temporarily withheld the information. Eventually, we're here. It might lead to undue stigmatization of individuals or groups within society. Eventually, the reasons for knowingly withholding information should be fully defensible and based on ethical consideration. Okay? So actually class, withholding information is not that destructive at all. Okay? It depends to the purpose of the person or the company that is using this or doing this. Okay? If it has something to do with the security of the public, if it needs to be temporarily withheld, then that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you are using this, when you are doing this just to destroy your office mate, your workmate, okay, to attack them, that's the bad thing. Okay, that's not a good thing with this kind or this tactic. Next, number 8, you're all very familiar with this, plagiarism. I think you already have an idea what plagiarism is. But for the sake of others, when we say plagiarism, this refers to stealing someone else's words, ideas, or even the results of a study and claiming them as your own without documenting or even inadequately documenting. Okay? The source. That is according to Colin 2017. That's why, remember, in your academic paper, okay, because that is an academic paper, it is somewhat a super mini type of research in a composition form or an essay form, wherein you need to gather informations, truth about your chosen topic. Okay, so that's why I let you write or get the reference. Okay, where did you get it? Is it from a book, from a website, anything or anywhere? Okay, you need to include every reference that you use. Why? That is giving credit to the author. You are giving credit to the writer, and of course, for us to avoid plagiarism. And when we say plagiarism, you are stealing someone's idea, someone else's words. Okay, so meaning you are a thief of information, and we don't want to be labeled as that. So that's why we need to avoid plagiarism or stealing someone else's words, ideas, and use it as if you are the one who construct the words, the ideas, or to think of those ideas. So that is plagiarism. In our country, we have legal law about plagiarism, and that is punishable by law. Okay, so those are the different tactics that could corrupt or destroy workplace communication. Okay, so that is communication in the workplace. So next time, in our next video, we will continue the discussion. And before I end, so I would want you to comment down below your reaction, a minimum of 3 sentences. Just write your name and the section, your section, and I would want you to comment something on the comment box or comment section. What have you learned from this lesson? What have you learned from this discussion? Or have you learned anything or nothing? Okay? So, see you on our next topic or next discussion.